I want to clarify my view on mental illness, quote, mental illness. The reason why is because I think some of how animated I get gets taken out of context. I don't believe that psychiatry, the way it is practiced in its modern context, works at all, period. I don't believe therapy is beneficial most of the time. I don't believe in the way people are treated by mental health clinics and therapists and doctors. I believe that they're marginalized. But what I want to make clear is this. I do believe that there are two primary causes of mental health symptoms. I do believe the symptoms are very real. I have experienced the symptoms, hence the diagnosis of PTSD. What I would like to make clear is this. The two causes that I know affect mental health outcomes and symptoms are existential, which means things like poverty, poor nutrition. Well, I actually will go to biological also, but existential reality, the reality, what surrounds you. How does this affect behavior? It can affect it a great deal. Depressed people live in depressed environments. Breaking up with somebody can be depressing. These are existential factors that affect behavioral outcomes. The beauty of the problems of an existential origin is they can be fixed if you can fix the existential crisis, okay? The environmental crisis, okay? I believe in biological factors. I believe also that this plays into existential factors. I believe that some people are just made out of sterner stuff than others. There's a lot of things I've gone through that would have driven a regular person insane, completely bonkers, and I'm not, okay? I know that for a fact because I've worked with people that have been unfortunately stretched to the limit because they did not have the same degree of resilience, biological resilience as I have, okay? And I'm not saying I'm a tough guy or anything. I'm sure there's people that have experienced far worse than me that have not been stretched to the same limits as I have. My point is this. It's not that I disbelieve in mental health symptoms. I know they're very real. The problem is much of the research we have is skewed in favor of a couple theories that aren't correct. They're just not right. And what we have to go on with the biological factors favors these previous theories that just aren't correct. They're not proper. Psychiatry is unfortunately not scrutinized by true medical doctors as much as it needs to be. And neither is psychology. Psychology is, for the most part, it is philosophy pretending to treat a disease, the quote disease, that isn't, it's not real. There are symptoms there, symptoms being caused by something, whether it's existential or biological, you don't know because the symptoms are the same regardless of whether it's existential or biological. However, this is where, and the therapy can work in an existential, for existential crises. Therapy is very good if it's done properly for existential crises, if the therapist knows what they're doing and if they're practicing a legitimate form of therapy, not some kooky crap like, Sigmund Freud's psychoanalysis or something like that, but something more along the lines of, say, Abraham Maslow's path towards self-actualization, or maybe Viktor Frankl's existential psychiatry. My point is that the truth of the hard truth is that mental health is ineffective. It is the only branch of healthcare that doesn't show quantifiable results. And their excuse is, well, we tried. You might not get any better, and you're probably going to get worse. And that's not an excuse. Mental health needs to be held accountable like every other form of medicine. For God's sakes, if you worked at a mental health clinic, if the people that come in there and get progressively worse, and progressively worse, and progressively worse, if this was legitimate medicine, these doctors and therapists and case managers and everyone else would be skewered for malpractice. But it's not. It's not held to the same scrutiny as legitimate medicine or legitimate healthcare, and it really needs to be.